Man, this is lifestyles of the poor and unfucking fortunate. But I tell you what, but bitch, we got views.
All right, we're here, man. ChadArmesTV, and we have a legend in the building. I'm actually in their building. Shout out to my boy Blind Fury, man. We're gonna have to sit down with Blind Fury right now, and I'm excited about it. So talk to him, Bubba.
Well, Bubba, are you excited about it?
I am, dog. I am. I'm very excited about it. I appreciate you rocking the Show and Prove merch I brought you too, man. That's cool.
Oh man, I mean
that's real shit, dog.
You know, I didn't know what the shirt said. I just put it on.
It's all good. It looks good, dog. I promise. Yeah. It looks good.
Well, I wouldn't know either way.
It's gonna
so
be a
what's
dope
up,
show.
man? Let's have a chat.
Man, let's talk. Let's just talk to you, man. I followed you. Like I said, I found out about you just for my love of just battle rap, and like we talked about it off camera. Like 2003, I saw you on MTV battle rapping.
Right.
You want to talk about that? We will get to that, but that's where I first heard of you. You know what I'm saying? And then I've followed you since, just over the years. But
well, let me take you way back.
Yeah, let's go
to some humble beginnings. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
When I was about 6 or 7 years old or so. Well, actually, no, I'll take you back even before that. When I was about 3 years old, my Diddy played me a record called "Hey, We Want Some Pussy" by 2 Live Crew.
Oh
right?
yeah.
And I immediately fell in love with rap music from then because I was like, wow, there's something bad about this. Like, there's something rebellious. Like, I want something to do with that. Like, they're cussing and they're doing some shit I've never heard. They're yelling over 808s. I love it. So I sang it in front of my mama and immediately got my ass whooped. At 3, and see, back then you could still kind of hit your kids and it was, whatever.
Right.
But, yeah, I got my ass whooped for saying, hey, we want some pussy in front of my mama like a bunch of times. So, fast forward, we moved into this apartment complex called Sherwood back in like 90, 91. And I was introduced to a whole lot of hood shit at a very early age. And one of those things was rap music. Now, what I figured out is that I could rap, and that kept me from getting bullied a lot. Like, because before you came at me with a snap, I had a snap already for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it helped me to build up a wall for all of these insecurities that I had to deal with later on in life that we'll get to.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so I would battle, around the neighborhood, and I would battle in the little local teen spots and the little Friday night parties they'd throw after the football games and shit. And for the longest time, I didn't have a rap name, and people got tired of calling me Blind Steven from Lugoff because that shit just sounded way awful. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my man Frank Wiz, who I still talk to this day, gave me the name Blind Fury because they were trying to figure out, well, what's your rap name gonna be? And he was like, yo, listen, I saw this Kung Fu movie the other day, right? And this blind motherfucker come back from Vietnam, and he cutting motherfuckers' heads off, yo. He cutting them up, yo. And that's you, Blind Fury. That's your rap name right there, yo, Blind Fury. And so that's what it was.
That's dope, dude.
It stuck with me. I tried to change it a few times, didn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how you got started with that. That's how you got your name and everything like that. So you said you heard 2 Live Crew, and that got you you're like, what, rap music's the shit.
That's the shit, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just started freestyling or?
I figured out that I could freestyle. Well, see, in my earlier, more formidable days, I was memorizing people's raps.
Right.
And then going out on the playground and rapping them like they were mine and capping, so to speak, right? Like, yeah, man, I wrote this rap yesterday, like this was shit. You know what I'm saying? And later on, in 94, Craig Mack's Flavor in Your Ear came out.
Classic record, yeah.
And my homeboy had the instrumental on the B-side, right? And his daddy, well, this is around the time entered the Twins, right? So Raymond, their daddy, had this record player, and what we would do was we would loop the B-side, the instrumental, and we'd just take turns rapping over, the boom, boom, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I figured out then, I was like, I can freestyle a little bit. Like, I'm all right with this shit. So, time went on, and me and the Twins, did the Bad Taste thing for a little while, and so on and so forth. And I kind of just grew that way with the freestyle.
That's dope, man. That's dope that something like that is kind of just, you're just in love with it from jump, you know what I mean? And then you just kind of had that gift that you didn't really know you had until, I guess, you heard the type of music that you fell in love with, I guess.
And now, see, I'm gonna tell you something about having gifts that you don't know you have, right? Still to this very day, at 37 years old, I'll be sitting in front of my piano at the house, talking to my old lady on the phone, right? and just randomly play a song that I never tried to play before. Just I know how it sounds, so I think I can play it.
Yeah.
So then I'll sit there and play it at the piano, and she's like, "That's fucking great. You sure you never played that before?" I'm like, "No, I never tried."
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
Like, and you just didn't even know that you didn't even know that you could play it.
Right.
You just knew how it sounded.
I knew how it sounded exactly.
Yeah. So like the freestyle. So you started freestyling, and that started like in like you said like middle school time frame.
I'd say about 4th, 5th grade.
Okay, so elementary school. You was in
Yep.
elementary school with it, and then you just kept doing it. When did it become a thing where you was trying to? When people were telling you it should be like a competitive thing, other than just at school and shit.
About 11th grade in high school, I was going and I was doing open mics at strip clubs on school nights. We used to have a spot in Columbia that was called Liquids. And on Monday nights, before they would do the strip shows or whatever, like the Hot 103.9 radio station would have these little open mic contests where rappers could come out and showcase their music or whatever. And I would just always get up there and freestyle, over Jay-Z beats or over this beat, whatever was hot at the time.
Yeah.
And, people like from the radio station, like, Hot 103.9 at the time being the biggest radio station down here as far as hip hop went. Lucky Leon and Big G and whatnot would come to me like, "Hey man, you need to take this fucking shit serious, man. You need to fucking do this shit, man. White boy, look here, man." And then to them, I was white boy. White boy, you got some shit with you, man. Like, you killing this shit. So, like, I mean, some demos got into the hands of some people, and we found out that MTV was doing these qualified battles in like 7 different states. There was one in Georgia, there was one in Texas, there was one in Chicago, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I went to the little club in Georgia and I did the little audition freestyle and shit, and I made it.
Yeah.
Didn't really think about it no more, and then I got a phone call. "Hey, we're going to MTV next week." I'm, fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm in college at the time.
Okay.
So I knew that if I went to New York and I did MTV, I was going to not meet the requirement hours for the college courses I was taking. So I knew that was probably going to flunk me out or whatever the fuck. So I just went ahead and just got up and said, "Well, fuck, I'm leaving."
Yeah. So like a crossroads kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopped on a plane and went to New York.
Yep.
Got on MTV.
Yeah, man. Like I said, that's where I first saw you. Like, cause we're roughly the same age. So like, when I saw that, like I was either in high school still or just got out of high school. When I don't know when it aired. I think you said 03, but
Yep.
That's
I graduated 03. So look, let me put something into perspective for you, right? Because a lot of people get very confused about why I am the way I am with some things. Like, because for the most part, I'm a real humble dude, but I can at times become very cocky and big-headed. So let me explain something to you. I graduated from high school in June, right? I was on MTV in October.
Yeah.
So I was an 18-year-old kid on MTV, famous as fuck, right?
Yep.
You couldn't tell me shit.
That's when MTV like was legit.
Yeah, it was legit.
Yeah.
Right. So you couldn't tell me shit. And for years, it took me a long time to, dial it back a little bit and knock myself down a few pegs. Because, like, for the longest time, I was a really cocky dude and I was really ungrateful and really arrogant and very ego-driven and sometimes narcissistic. And all that came from, look, when you take a white blind kid from Elgin, South Carolina, right?
Yeah.
And you put him on MTV in front of millions at 18 years old, there's no instruction manual that comes with it.
Absolutely.
They don't tell you how to behave or what to do. Like, you're just expected to know these things. And I was fresh out my mama's house for the first time, like, out of high school, fuck college, I'm on MTV. Like, I got real big-headed, man. I'm not saying that that's the way to go. I'm just saying that, like, I dealt with a lot of that coming up.
But that's real that you recognize that, though, because, like, how would you... It would be very difficult, in my mind, to not be that way at that age if it would happen to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Being that, like, you just get straight out the gate, like, stuff starts hitting like that, it's easy to get wrapped up in that, I would think. You know
it is. It's very easy. And then 106 in Park, years later didn't... Well, the Tech N9ne feature and the 106 in Park shit later on didn't make it any better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
How far between the MTV and 106 in Park? Was that towards the latter part of the 2000s?
Yeah, that was 2010, 2011. So that was 7 years.
Yeah.
But now, within that 7 years, I was doing a lot of shit. I I lived in New York briefly and played keyboard in a lot of jazz clubs.
Oh, that's dope.
You know, and I would do well in New York. What they have a lot of times is they have these open mic nights, but instead of people doing karaoke, they have a live band play.
Mm-hmm.
And you come up there and tell the band what song you want them to play, and they play it, and you sing along to it. So I had a residency in Brooklyn for a good little while, you know what I'm saying, making a few hundred a week, just playing these little jazz spots and doing this and that. So throughout that time, I was doing shit, and I was making connections and whatnot, and still battling here and there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think? How did you like living in New York? How long did you live there?
I hate New York.
Yeah. I was going to say, being a South Carolina kid, you're a Southern boy, so
Yeah.
like I would think that would be a big difference, you know what I mean, culture-wise, like just the environment in general.
It's
you know
too
what I'm
much
saying?
noise, and it's too much people close together. Like, everything is just right on top of each other.
Yeah.
Like, there's no room. Like, the air always smells like piss and old fair food and homeless people. Like,
Right. It's just a weird vibe.
yeah, it's a weird vibe. And there's rats that are big as fucking German shepherds what come out the trash late at night. Like, I ain't lying. There's more rats in New York than there are people. And I mean it.
Yeah, for sure. So like in between those two, like I guess we can say pillars, like in like your like battling career with MTV and BT, you were releasing music as well. Like you released was the Gifted EP, was that the first thing you released?
Yeah, Gifted was a weird sort of time for me because we recorded Gifted in about 3 days. I had the flu, right? And so I would record verses and then I would sleep in the studio while they mixed it.
Yeah.
And then I would get up and record more and then sleep. And Gifted was the first actual, you know, project that we came out with that was like physically distributable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Retail and otherwise. Although we didn't get it in a lot of places. We got it into some places around here and we got it on CD Baby. You could have ordered it online back then and whatnot. So forth.
Was
you can stream it now, by the way.
No, for sure. Now, it was 2007 is when it's showing on Apple Music?
Yep.
Is that when y'all dropped it? Was
Yep.
that around the time? Okay.
I
Was
recorded it in 06. I dropped it in 07.
Gotcha. Okay. And you said you did that. And what I've noticed too, man, just by watching, following your career, like freestyle wise, and then just your music too, you're very good at coming up with concepts and hooks and skeletons of songs and full songs off the fly. And that's all I guess been something like that you've always just had. Is that
Well,
fair to say, you think? Or you've improved the craft, I'm sure, over the years.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I was good at making parodies, right?
Right.
I found a lot of pleasure in Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, yeah, he's
in
one of
my
the
early
best,
days.
man, for sure.
And then when I went down to Miami and I worked with Timbaland in 2011, 2012, right?
Yeah.
I learned about how to make reference tracks, right? Which
Yeah.
is where you may not necessarily rap all of the lyrics. You might just like, and you're putting the melody down to like where that comes from. And so I learned to kind of write around melodies working with Timbaland.
Yeah. That's dope, dude. That's dope to be able to work with that kind of music mind like that, you know what I mean? Because he's definitely one of them ones for sure.
Yeah,
So that's-
Timbaland's great.
So you was talking about in between the freestyle stuff, you was talking about the Tech N9ne stuff. How do you want to talk about how that came about?
I was on an Amtrak train coming back to South Carolina from New York.
That when you was doing the jazz stuff? Like
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
106 money had not quite hit yet. So for those of you wondering why the fuck I was taking an Amtrak train, it was because I could not afford the plane ride back. Point blank period. All right?
Yeah.
So I'm taking an Amtrak train back, and we get into Camden, and I get a phone call, and it's from an 816 number, and it wasn't like saved in my phone or anything like that. So I pick it up, and I answer it, and it's nobody else but Chris Calico, and he's like, "Hey, is this Blind Fury?" "Yeah, what's up, dude?" "Well, all right, check this out. Tech N9ne wants to know if you want to get on a song for his new album coming out. We'll send you the track, we'll send you the reference, and you can." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, send the shit on over, like we do this shit, like blah 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 blah." So then me and Tech's people send me the track. Me and my cousin are at his house the next day hanging cabinets. Well, I'm holding them in place while he, puts them in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we got the beat playing in the background, so I'm writing a verse and shit, and I wrote it. We went immediately from hanging cabinets, dirty as fuck, and laid down the verse. And that's how the Tech N9ne feature happened.
That's crazy, bro. They just got in contact with you, I guess, through some people just from seeing
through
you
Twitter.
online.
What happened was
Okay.
I used to have a Twitter that was banging like Bloods and Crips,
Yeah.
and I had been talking to Chris Calico, through Twitter and shit,
Yeah.
and I had kind of sent him my number, not ever thinking he would really get back to me, because you don't think like that.
No, for sure. You just you throw it out there, and then if it happens, it's like an act of God kind of.
Yeah.
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 That's dope, man. That was cool that happened the way it did. Like when you were on the Amtrak, like, and then you get a call like that, like it immediately could change your perspective on things. You know what I mean?
I went in Waffle House that night and ordered me some hash browns with everything you could think on them because I was balling. At that, in my mind, I made it.
No,
you
for
could
sure,
tell me
dude.
shit.
That's dope. So I kind of want to go back before we start getting into like more of like your music and stuff. Back to talking about the Freestyle Friday.
Yeah.
So like obviously like y'all got those on the channel. Those are classic like clips to go back and revisit. Man, I went back and watched them like about a week or two ago, and like there's been other people that have done the run, but I don't think that, because I've watched most of them, but I don't think anybody did the run like the Freestyle Friday run like you did.
Yeah.
The way you did it, dog, because like you were involving like the crowd. It was just crazy the way you was able to do that, dude.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even ever a thing where it was close to me each week. Did you ever feel like any of the guys that you went up against, did you even feel like any of them had brought it close enough to where you may have a chance of
Losing?
going down? Yeah, I don't think. I went back and watched it, man. A lot of them was just, it didn't even seem.
D-Dave, both times.
I would say he was probably yeah.
R.I.P. to D-Dave. Like, D-Dave actually did make me nervous. Like, D-Dave had me scared. I was like, yo, I really might not make it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. Like, because they threw that to me as a surprise. Like, they brought him back 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
I battled him the first time, I knew about that. But when they brought him back the second time, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Fuck. All right, I guess.
Yeah. But you did the damn thing, bro. Like, and you, with the Freestyle Friday with BET 106 and Park, when y'all did that, did y'all have any idea what instrumentals it was just, or did they give you any idea what the instrumentals was going to be?
They would let you know like an hour before.
Okay.
Because what I used to do, was I would get there a little bit early.
Yeah.
So I could perform the Fury Ritual, but I would also get there a little early to listen to whatever instrumentals the DJ was going to be testing out for that day. So I kind of had a little leg up there. Like I was overly prepared and overly anxious and overly nauseous.
No, for you studying the game types, dog. That's
Yeah.
that's what that was. Yeah, for sure. Well, it paid off, man. And then when they brought you, like the coldest thing you did, I think you did, bro, is when that was it like a reunion or something that they brought you back for when they had you up there for? You wasn't battling. It was like a cipher.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. That was crazy, bro. I don't know how long after like your run was when they did that, but
That's about
really
2 years,
dope.
I think.
Was it? Okay. That was dope too. I just wanted to touch on that, man, because I feel like that's a big thing in your career that a lot of people have probably seen. You know what I mean? And I just kind of wanted to get like the ins and outs of that.
I'm going to tell you a funny story about that, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're all out on the roof of the BET building. We're filming the promo for the Freestyle Friday reunion thing, right? All of us are out there smoking blunts and drinking beers, and we're kicking it, and we're cooling out, just being regular old dudes, right?
Yeah.
And Jen is way off in the back going, "No, I don't partake.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good." And we look, and once I figured out it made him uncomfortable, you know me, I just kept trying to pass him the blunt, like, "Here, have it. What's up?"
Yeah. Yeah, man. And then wasn't he part of that cipher that
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was dope, man. That was I'm sure that was that in LA or was that in New York?
That was in New York.
It was in New York. Okay.
All of it was in New York
With all the big ass rats, huh?
with all the big ass rats.
Hell yeah, dude. So like, what I also want to talk about too, bro, is like, obviously people know you from being able to freestyle and being able to rap. I mean, there were times where I was watching Facebook Lives where you was doing, I forgot, was it 24 hours straight? You was doing stuff like that. Didn't you do that one time?
Yeah, on YouTube we did 13 hours and I clocked out.
Okay, yeah. Like that. I think I remember catching something he was doing on maybe it was YouTube.
Yep.
But what I want to talk about now is like how talented of a musician you are and the way and like how dope you are at making music other than rap, which is kind of what you're doing present day. But like, has that always been something you grew up on too? I know you said rap was like
country has always been my roots. Like Troy said it best the other night when he said, you know, like country is something I always wanted to do, and my roots were always in country. It just so happened that a door opened for me with rap, and I was blessed with lots of opportunity and, you know, lots of favor, and I was fortunate to be around the people that I've been around and learn the things I've learned, and you know, really perfect that craft in that way. But I feel like I got put in a box very early on with rap, and I am so much more than that. Like, I could play the piano at 3 years old by ear. Like, if I hear it, I can play it. And so, you know, that was something I didn't really embrace until more recently, when I figured out, okay, look, I'm getting older, and a rapper's shelf life has about 3 years max.
Yeah.
And then you got to kind of figure out what the fuck you're going to do after that.
Right.
So I took my love for Skaggs and bluegrass music, and Brad Paisley and his storytelling, and you know, the musicianship of like your Tim McGraws and your Alan Jacksons and your Billy Curringtons and your so-ons and so forth, right? And decided that I needed to go back to my roots and just start doing more country music. Because look, at the end of the day, what you don't want is old people coming to you and saying, you know, I love your music and I'd love to be able to play it for my kids, but it's got so much bad words and so many things in it that I just can't, you know, expose them to it or introduce them to it. You want to be able to touch audiences of all walks of life, man, and that's really what I'm doing with this music now.
No, for sure, man. I mean, you got the new. I mean, you dropped the new single, "Beer." How long? When did y'all drop that? Like a
March
March
17th, 16th, some shit.
It's a great record.
Fuck
It's
me
a
out.
great record.
It's a great record. It's a great drink, by the way.
April 15th.
April 15th. Okay, cool. And then y'all about to drop a new single, right?
Yep, it's called Open Road. It's gonna also be on the album Heartbreaks and Hangovers, by yours truly, Blind Fury.
Hell yeah, man.
Singing about what I know the most about, heartbreaks and hangovers.
Hell yeah. What I want to talk about now is how you and Troy got into doing the reviews. Like, how did that come about? How did you meet up? How did you and Troy meet? How did that become a thing? You know what I'm saying? I'm interested in if you want to talk about that.
I will,
Yeah.
because there are multiple different accounts of how it all really happened.
Right.
But the way I remember it is that Troy had no clue who I was, right? And Troy was making fan art, you know, a flyer for a show that was coming up, right?
Okay.
And I happened to be performing on that show. And because I was a local artist, you know, hometown boy, you know, making good, right? Troy made my name and appearance on the flyer a little bit bigger than the actual headliner of the show, right? So the headliner of the show got a little bit butthurt about it and called the promoter of the event, said, well, if you don't tell them to take that flyer down, I'm not performing. So then I hit up Troy and Barbie on the Facebook, because they share one, and I said, well, you tell Troy, because at the time I didn't know who I was talking to, whether it was Troy or Barbie.
Right.
You tell Troy if he takes that fucking flyer down, I won't perform. And I had planned on making a whole shitstorm about it later on, had it went down that way, right?
Right.
So I ended up talking to Barbie for a good hour and a half, just like chopping it up about whatever, mainly about the show. And Barbie then kind of went to Troy and was like, well, no, Fury's on board with it. Like, he's real cool. I talked to him. Here's how he feels about it. And so from then on, me and Troy, like, we linked up at the show with the artist, who I won't mention. And then later on, we linked up at a Cooley G event, which was a reggae explosion, where there was lots of reggae and liquor and whatnot. And it's kind of been 3 ever since. Like, where you see one, you'll probably see the other 2. And as far as where the reviews came from, when the COVID pandemic hit, and I don't know how deep Troy would want me to go into it, but for a while Troy was out of work because of the COVID pandemic.
All right, for sure. Yeah,
and so
everybody.
there wasn't really a whole lot to do, so we were just sitting around,
Yeah.
you know, bullshitting and doing nothing. And I had caught like a 2-beer buzz one day and decided, hey, Troy, it'd be real fucking awesome if I could drive your car. And Troy goes, well, let me get the GoPro. Let's go for it. And so that happened. We put that video up. It got really big traction. And after that, we did a few pre-taped episodes and then discovered that it would be better if we just did it live because me and Troy have no pre-tape chemistry whatsoever. Like,
Right.
because what I mean is, my friendship with Troy, me and Troy will literally just sit in the same room with each other for 30 minutes straight and not say a fucking word.
Yeah.
And be fine. Like, he's doing what he's doing, I'm doing what I'm doing. And like, but it kind of sort of evolved. Like, I mean, we used to do these episodes that were 3, 4, 5 hours long sometimes, you know, and we had a little track phone that you would hold up to the microphone like this when people would call in, and you know, you'd have to make the best of the calls.
Yeah.
So we evolved into the Google Voice number, which I kind of suggested and pointed out to Troy that we should do. And the reviews then kind of sort of came as an idea from Troy, really. Like, I mean, Troy was like, hey, man, maybe we should get people to send in songs and we review them and shit. And first couple weeks were strange, to say the least. But then it kind of got into a little pattern, man, and it's been fun ever since, dude. I love it. Like, Review Day Tuesday is my favorite episodes.
Don't mean to chime in, but actually I read Mentexo's comment, so it came
Oh.
from me, but I read Mentexo's comment. Shout out to Mentexo for that.
I got you, my bad.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I just want to give him credit.
Oh hell yeah. That, and I think what y'all are doing is really, really dope, man, because not only are y'all being able to put out content for people, and you're still being able to be Blind Fury and still showcase your personality and like your skills with singing or rapping or freestyling or whatever, but you're shining light on a lot of other artists, including myself, including Fathead, who's with me, who I'm with now. Like, and I think that's really dope because you're exposing artists to y'all's, you know what I mean, subscriber base that may not know who these people are. You know what I mean? You're just trying to shine light on artists. And that's dope.
And the thing is, I'm gonna tell you what. If it weren't for people like you and people like Fathead who, you know, shared your material like after we reviewed it and everything, like, you know, everything that me and Troy do right now is possible because of the viewers and the subscribers and the people that share it and, you know, like it and put it into the algorithms. They comment on it and, you know, they interact with it. And so, like, this ain't at all just me and Troy, because me and Troy are two boring motherfuckers, like, straight up. But because of the fams and the fans, like, we're able to, you know, expand the platform. And it's awesome. Like, I really love hearing all the new music. Like, I go home and look up a lot of the artists on Spotify when I can find them, like Jessie B, who will be performing at Gadgets tomorrow night
For sure. Shout out
on
Jessie
April
B.
30th.
Yeah, for sure. She's super talented.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope, man. Like I said, that's really cool because what you and Troy and Barbara are able to do, like, is helping out a lot of artists, and not just artists like me and Fathead that are OGs, but like
Ty.
Yeah, like Ty, like for sure. Tyler Tyrant, super talented dude. And like it's shedding light on new talent that may not, and people won't know of because they're not in the same region as these people, or they don't have the reach. But on top of that, you're getting collaborations from other artists that are on there, and so I think that's really cool. I wanted to shed light on that too.
I'm gonna shed light on this.
Yeah.
I look back on my career, right? And I wish that there was somebody who had a platform the way that we have a platform now, that would, allow artists to showcase their videos and their songs and their talents like the way that we're allowing people. Like, it's easy as fuck now, but damn, back when it was hard copies of CDs and you had to really go out there and do the footwork.
It separated the men from the boys for sure, because I remember back, you know what I mean, dude? I mean, you had to press up hundreds of copies and hope that you sold half of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And most of the time it was like, I'll take whatever you got. Kind of
you
thing.
Gave a couple of them away.
Yep. And it was a whole deal where like everything was physical, everything cost way more. Videos were 10, 20, 30 grand to shoot music videos.
100 grand.
Yeah, for sure. So like it worked out great for you because you're such a talented dude. Like you were able to get those looks like MTV, like BET, like the Tech N9ne stuff. But like I see what you're saying, it was much harder for people to get seen or heard back then.
Yeah,
for sure.
I wish there was a platform like we have right now back then.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. Well, dude, I really do appreciate you, man. I know we're just scraping the surface, but we can always come back down and do more, man. I really do appreciate you giving me your time and
Absolutely, I appreciate you. No, I appreciate you wanting my time, dude. Fuck
for
that.
sure, dude. You're one of the goats in this shit, dog.
I appreciate you, Bubba. Can I
sure,
dap
man.
you?
Absolutely, dog.
There you go,
for
Bubba.
sure. And I appreciate that, man. And shout out to you. And we'll put your link to your Spotify down there for people to listen to music. We'll put y'all's 3 and 2 YouTube channel down there.
Mm-hmm.
And ChadArmesTV, Blind Fury, man. This was bucket list shit for your boy, man. So I
Chatty
appreciate
Bobby.
it. For sure. Peace.